The heavy rain beat against the window pane with a rhythmic urgency, the kind that made everything outside seem blurred and distant, like a dream. Inside the small, cozy cafe on the corner of Riverside Avenue, the world felt slower, softer. The scent of freshly brewed coffee and cinnamon lingered in the air as soft jazz hummed from the speakers. It was here, at a table near the rain-drenched window, that Mia first noticed him. He sat alone, a book in one hand and a pen in the other. His dark skin glowed under the golden light of the cafe's pendant lamps, and the edges of his smile crinkled slightly as he jotted something in the margins of his book. His hair was neatly twisted, the kind of style that told Mia he cared about the details. She found herself lingering longer than she should, her chai latte forgotten as she tried to figure out what it was about him that made her heart stutter in her chest. Mia shook her head, pulling her gaze away. Get a grip, she thought, focusing instead on the article she was supposed to be editing for the magazine. But her eyes betrayed her, drifting back to him, unable to resist the pull. And then it happened. He looked up. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the world outside the cafe ceased to exist. His gaze held hers, deep brown and warm, as if it could reach into the parts of her she kept hidden even from herself. He smiled. Not the polite, distant kind, but the kind that felt like a private joke meant only for her. Mia's heart raced, her cheeks heating under his attention. She quickly looked down, fumbling with her pen as though it could shield her from the magnetic pull of his presence. When she glanced back up, he was still looking at her, but now he was standing, his book tucked under his arm, as he made his way toward her table. "Hi," he said, his voice rich and smooth, like a melody she wanted to replay again and again. Up close, she noticed the faint freckles on his nose, the subtle curve of his lips that never fully lost their smile. "Hi," Mia replied, her voice coming out softer than she intended. "I couldn't help but notice you noticing me," he said with a teasing grin. "So I figured I'd save you the trouble of pretending you weren't." Mia blinked, caught off guard by his boldness. But then she laughed, a sound that felt foreign to her in its sincerity. "Is that your way of introducing yourself?" He tilted his head, mock serious. "Well, it worked, didn't it? I'm Caleb, by the way." "Mia," she said, extending her hand. Instead of shaking it, Caleb gently took her hand in his touch warm and firm. "It's nice to meet you, Mia." That meeting was the start of something Mia hadn't realized she was missing. Caleb had a way of turning the ordinary into extraordinary. A simple walk in the park became an adventure as he recited poetry and pointed out constellations hidden in the night sky. Cooking dinner together in Mia's tiny kitchen turned into a dance as they swayed to the sound of Al Green on the record player. His presence filled the spaces in her life that had once felt hollow, and with him, she found herself laughing more, dreaming more, loving more. He had his own quirks, too. Caleb was a morning person, the kind who woke up humming, while Mia preferred to cocoon herself in blankets until at least 10. He was the optimist to her realist, the dreamer to her planner. They balanced each other in ways that felt almost effortless, like the universe had aligned just for them. But it wasn't just the good times that defined them. They learned to navigate the hard times together. When Mia lost her job unexpectedly, she felt the weight of the world crushing her. It was Caleb who held her through the nights when she cried herself to sleep, whispering words of encouragement until she believed them herself. When Caleb's father fell ill, Mia was there by his side, holding his hand in hospital waiting rooms and reminding him to eat when his own worry consumed him. Their love wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was in the little things. The way Caleb left sticky notes with affirmations on the bathroom mirror for Mia to find in the mornings. Or the way Mia made sure to pack his favorite snacks for his long days at work. It was in the way they argued, fiercely but fairly, always coming back to the foundation they'd built together. It was in the way Caleb looked at Mia as if she was the center of his universe, and the way Mia couldn't imagine a future without him in it. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and lavender, Caleb took Mia to their favorite spot by the river. The city lights twinkled in the distance, their reflections dancing on the water's surface. He held her hand, his thumb brushing against her knuckles in that familiar, soothing way. Mia, he began, his voice steady but thick with emotion. Meeting you was like stumbling upon the most beautiful song when I wasn't even looking. You've changed my life in ways I didn't think were possible. I want to keep dancing to this song with you for the rest of my life. Before she could fully process his words, Caleb knelt down on one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. Inside was a simple yet elegant ring, its diamond catching the fading sunlight. Will you marry me? He asked, his voice trembling just slightly. Tears filled Mia's eyes as she nodded, her voice caught in her throat. Yes, she managed to whisper, her heart swelling with a love so profound it felt like it might burst. Caleb slipped the ring onto her finger, standing to pull her into his arms. They kissed, the world around them fading away, leaving only the two of them and the steady rhythm of their hearts beating in unison. Years later, as they sat on the porch of their home, watching their children play in the yard, Mia leaned her head against Caleb's shoulder. The lines on their faces told stories of laughter, tears, and everything in between, but their love remained as vibrant as the day they'd met in that little cafe. I love you, Mia said softly, her fingers intertwining with his. I love you more, Caleb replied, kissing the top of her head. Their journey wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. A love story written in stolen glances, quiet moments, and a promise to always choose each other every single day.